No matter the medium, the subject, or the genre, all great paintings have a start. In this video, I'd like to share with you the 3 methods I've used over the past 30 years. Let's take a look. Our method 1 is just a simple sketch, and that is when we have our reference already, we have our canvas prepared, and then we're going to grab either a pencil, a pen, or a paintbrush, and we're going to transfer that reference onto the canvas. We're going to use our eyes, we're going to use our artistic ability to translate what we see on the reference over to the canvas. Now this has a simplistic nature. It probably is the one that most artists use. Probably the method that the old masters used, and it has a simplistic nature to it. It also has some cons to it in the fact that we're really depending on our artistic ability to transfer the image over to the canvas, so that could mean that our proportions might get off a little bit, and we really got to have a knack to be able to see, to develop that nature of the scene onto the canvas. What I like about this method is because of the simplistic nature, I tend to use it for simple scenes that I'm going to paint. Let me give you an example as far as how a sketch works. Take a look at this time lapse. Method 2 is probably familiar to all artists. It's the grid, and it's a very specific method to transfer your reference over to your canvas. But it does take a little extra preparation because you need a pencil and you need a ruler as well as a reference, either in a physical copy or a digital copy. It is a very specific method that I've used since the day one. As you can tell from this book, copyrighted in 1984, even they taught the grid method way back then. All right, let me show you the digital means I use to put a grid on my reference. That way we can have it copied over to our painting. The name of the program I like to use is called GIMP. It's a free software that you can download off the internet. I'll leave a link for it in the description box, but all you're going to need to do is download the program. Then, like any other program, open the File menu. You're going to open up your actual reference. We'll use this for our demonstration. Once we get it open, I like to use the magnifying glass to expand it out to a full screen so I can look at it. Then what we're going to need to do is decide how many quadrants our grid's going to be. I like to use an 8x8 grid. I find that it's just enough to get the transfer over without being too much detail. In order to do that, you're going to use this 2505 by 2505, which is the pixels, and you're going to divide that number by your grid. Like I said, I like to use 8, so we're going to take the 2505 divided by 8, and that'll give us 313. Then all you're going to need to do is come over here to the filters menu, scroll down to the render, and then you're going to go to the pattern, and from pattern you're going to apply a grid. And that'll pop up this little menu, which from that case, you're going to transfer that 313 number. Before I like to do that, I like to change the color to something that I can see on the painting. This particular painting is going to be pretty dark, so we'll use a white, or you can even use a gray. White seems to be the best color for that. Select OK. And then what you're going to need to do is, since this is a square reference, we don't need to break the sides from the width and the height. It'll come out just to be the same. We'll go ahead and move this number all the way up to 313. You can also select it and actually physically type it into the computer, but I like to just roll it up here until I can see where we're going. So we're looking for 313, and as you can see on the screen, it's approaching the grid that we want to see. I'll scale it down 1 or 2 just to see where we're at. Looks like 313 exactly is the number. And as you can tell from the reference, we have a perfect 8x8 grid applied to our reference. Once you're happy with that, you can select OK. But let me show you one other technique. If you're using a portrait or a landscape, 4x3 or something other than a square, you're going to want to break this little box here. That way you can change the numbers without it changing the other number. But since we have a square reference, we'll keep it the same. Once you're happy with it, you can select OK. And then as you can tell, we have a perfect grid applied to our reference, which we can then use to draw our reference onto the canvas. And finally, we get to our last method, the projector. As you can imagine, the projector is the easiest way to get a one-for-one copy of our reference material onto the canvas. There is some additional preparation. There is some additional cost to purchasing the projector. However, once we get our reference material onto the projector to display on the canvas, we need only to copy line for line of what we're seeing on the canvas, and we're going to get an exact copy of that reference. The only downfall of using a projector is sometimes it gets a negative opinion in the artist community as a cheating method. However, I'll tell you that if we're using our own reference material and we're painting the painting ourselves, then using a projector is a matter of convenience. I've used the projector in the past when I've had a large canvas that I needed to get done, where the grid method and the sketch method just weren't applicable to the size of the canvas. So using the projector was convenient because I was able to project it to the size I needed and to be able to get it done quickly. Here's a demonstration of our projector mounted on a tripod and with our reference being displayed on the canvas. As you can tell, it is a one-for-one exact copy of our reference. All we need to do now is to grab a pencil and trace the exact scene out, and we have a good start for our painting. Well, there you have it. These are my 3 methods that I've used over the past 30 years to start each and every one of my paintings. There's no guarantee that these methods will make your paintings great. However, if we employ the sketch, the grid, or the projector method, there's a good chance that you're going to start with a solid foundation in order to work our way to a great painting. Until next time, I'm Lance. Happy painting.